How's it going, everyone? My name is Francisco Santana, and I'm the coordinator of youth ministry at Our Lady of the Lake. And this is the second installment on the Incarnation. So, in the first video, I shared the 4 reasons that are listed in the Catechism of the Catholic Church for why Jesus Christ, the Son of God, became man. We read in John's Gospel that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was anything made. We also go on to read that in verse 14, John 1:14, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. We have beheld his glory as of the only Son from the Father. Right? So we know that the Word of God is Jesus Christ because he is the Son of the Father. And the first point that I brought up when I talked about the 4 points for the Incarnation, we read that Jesus Christ became man to redeem humanity, to redeem us and make us one with the Father, right? To reunite us with the Father. And we read from John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him might not perish, but might have everlasting life." Verse 17, a lot of people miss this. They don't continue on. "For God sent the Son into the world, not to condemn the world, but that the world might be saved through him." Verse 18, "He who believes in him is not condemned. He who does not believe in him is condemned already, because he has believed in the name of the only Son of God." So, even though Jesus Christ came into the world to save us, it doesn't give us a free-for-all. It's not an opportunity for us to accept Christ and then continue living the life that we want. The reality is, John's Gospel is a reflection of the book of Genesis, right? Or at least the first chapter. It takes us back to Genesis, and we find in Genesis, after the creation of the world, that we are a broken people. We are a broken creation. Right, we inherit sin, and not only sin, but the consequences of sin, which is a desire for sin. That's one of the worst things about sin, is that we would desire it, and that's a part of our brokenness. And then also death, right? So we know from Adam and Eve that the sin that was being talked about the death that was being talked about was spiritual death, right? That we have a spiritual life and a spiritual death. There, in the beginning, God made everything perfect, and we messed it up. And a lot of people want to criticize Adam and Eve for ruining everything because of their sin, but the reality is we sinned far worse than Adam and Eve, and far more often, probably. We don't have a reflection of Adam and Eve's sinful lives, after being booted out of the garden, but I know that myself, I've sinned in far worse ways than Adam and Eve. They ate fruit that God told them not to eat of. And I know I've done worse things than that. The reality is we are broken. And until we acknowledge our brokenness, our sickness, our disorder within ourselves, we won't go to Christ. We won't realize how desperate we are, how much we need Jesus to save us from our sin. And that's precisely what he came to do. He came to heal our brokenness, to heal our illness. Yes, in the physical world, but more important than that is the spiritual realities. Just reflecting on all the horrible things that are going on right now. We have sin being propagated as something that is normal, that's supposed to be accepted, that there's nothing wrong with it. And if we go back to John's Gospel, it says in John 3:19, "And this is the judgment, that the light has come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone who does evil hates the light, and does not come to the light, lest his deeds should be exposed. But he who does what is true comes to the light, that it may be clearly seen that his deeds have been wrought in God," they have been done in God. We were created for truth, beauty, and goodness. And what we see in the world right now is this total acceptance of darkness. And it's a corruption of who we are, what we were made to be. And so Jesus Christ came to save us from that. And we see these waves in the history of the world where sometimes sin and darkness seem to be taking over. And the reality is Christ came to save us. But that doesn't mean that everybody is going to be saved. The incarnation is a call to all of us to respond to the love of God. The fact that he came to claim us for himself. And anyone who recognizes how desperate we are for his love, for his salvation, those are the ones who are going to be saved if they respond to his life and his love, to his grace. So the incarnation is a call to all of us to live in the life and the love of God. And only then can we be saved. Only then will we receive his redemption, when we have given back to God what he has given to us. And what has he given to us? Everything. Everything. There's nothing that we have that is good that didn't come from him. So I want to challenge you to reflect on how desperate we are for God and his love, how really there's nothing that we have without his goodness. I went to confession with our pastor at Our Lady of the Lake, Father Chauncey, and one of the things that he told me while he was giving me guidance is that I needed to be desperate for Jesus, and that I wasn't desperate enough for him, that I might, love him and I might be trying here and there, but I didn't realize just how in need I am for his grace to help me overcome my shortfallings, to overcome temptation, to hate temptation, so that I can love God more, that I'll want to love God with all that I have, all that I am. So I want to encourage you to reflect on the fact that Jesus Christ came to redeem you. He came to reunite you with the Father, to make you whole again. Right? Matthew Kelly says that what we want to do is become the best version of ourselves. And what is that? Well, it's becoming a saint. It's becoming that person that God has made you to be. I hope you got something out of this. I'll be praying for you. God bless you. If you did get something out of the video, go ahead and let me down in the comments. Like and share this. Pass it along with anybody who you think needs to hear it. God bless. And we'll be talking to you soon. In the next video, we'll be talking about one of the other points on the incarnation, that Jesus Christ came to redeem us, to reunite us to the Father, but also to be a model for us in holiness. Okay, we'll talk to you guys soon. God bless.